Your test 4 review. Problem number 1 says to plot the given point in the rectangular coordinate system. 5, 2. Remember, all points, x and then y. So there are 4 possible choices down there. So go to 5 on the x, go up 2 on the y, that's the point. Easiest problem on any test I've given, probably by far. Alright, problem number 2 says use the graph to determine the x and y intercepts. So it's kind of hard for me to draw this exact. But up here at 9, this graph, actually up here at 8, this graph crosses the y-axis. And then we cross the x-axis right here at 4. And we cross the x-axis right here at -2. So my y-intercept, I only have one, it's 8. And my x-intercept, I have 2 of those, it's -2 and +4. Okay. Now, the answers are given just like this. However, remember, you can write these as points if you wanted to. So if you were having to use these to graph, you'd want to think about that as 0, 8. You'd want to think about this as -2, 0, and this is 4, 0. So a lot of times you'll see those written as points, but the way they're on your test now, they're not written as points. You just write down the numbers for the answers. Or look for the numbers for the answers. All right. Number 3, find the slope of the line passing through the pair of points, or state the slope is undefined. Alright, so our formula for slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. We're going to use that formula on on problem number 3 and problem number 4. So problem number 3, the points are -9, -4, and -2, -4. So there's x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, and y sub 2. Alright, so this slope is -4 minus -4 over -2 minus -9. Anywhere that I have minus and negative, I put plus a positive. So my numerator is going to be 0, my denominator is going to be 7. 0 divided by 7 is 0. You can divide things into zeros, just you cannot divide by 0. Alright, so the slope is 0. Number 4. Find the slope between the 2 points, or of a line passing through the 2 points, 4, -6, and 4, 4. I'm going to label my points, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, and follow my slope formula. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Alright, so it's going to be 10 divided by 0. You cannot divide by 0. Try that in your calculator, it gives you an error. So that's undefined. Alright, problem number 5. It's very important on problems number 5 and 6 that you look at the directions. Problem number 5 says use the given conditions to write an equation for the line in point-slope form. So we want our answer, our final answer, in point-slope form. The point-slope formula is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So we're given in the problem, it says slope equals 2. So that means m equals 2. And we're passing through the point negative 5, 6 on our line. So label your point x sub 1, y sub 1, and now plug your slope and your point into your point slope formula. So y minus y sub 1 is 6 equals m, or 2, times x minus x sub 1 is negative 5. Alright, so y minus 6 equals 2 times x minus negative 5. Anytime you have minus a negative, you put plus a positive. So y minus 6 equals 2 times x plus 5. That is point slope form, so you stop right there. Now, if you multiply in the 2 and you move over the 6, that puts it in slope-intercept form. We don't want that form. That answer is probably going to be down there too. But make sure you stop there. That's point slope form. Alright, problems number 6 and 7. The directions say use the given conditions to write an equation for the line in slope-intercept form. So we're going to do the same thing that we just did. We're going to first put it in point slope form. But then we're going to make it y equals. That will put it in slope-intercept form. Alright, so we're given slope equals negative 3, passing through the point negative 7, 8. Alright, so y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1 is point slope form. We're first going to put it in this form, and then we're going to make it y equals. Alright, so label your point. There's your x sub 1 and your y sub 1. So this is y minus 8 equals, the slope is negative 3 times x minus negative 7. And where I have minus and negative, I put a plus. So I have y minus 8 equals negative 3 times x plus 7. Now that's point slope form. If you look down there, that answer is probably going to be down there, or something very similar. Alright, but don't look down there because we want slope-intercept form. So multiply in your negative 3. So y minus 8 equals negative 3x minus 21. And then get your y by itself. Add 8 to both sides of the equation. Alright. So we get y equals negative 3x minus 13. That's the answer we're looking for. Alright, problem number 7. We're not given the slope. We have the same directions as number 6, but you are given 2 points. Points negative 6, negative 2, and negative 4, negative 8. So since we were not given the slope, the first thing that we have to do is figure out the slope. Label your points. Now we're going to follow the slope formula. So m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. We have a lot of negative signs here, so be careful. Anywhere I have minus a negative, I'll put plus a positive. So I have minus 8 plus positive 2. This will be a negative 6 over minus 4 plus a positive 6. This will be a positive 2. So negative 6 divided by positive 2 is a negative 3. So the slope of my line that I'm about to write is negative 3. Alright, the directions say slope-intercept form. So first I'm going to put it in point slope form by using the slope we just figured out and the first point that I have written down. And then I'm going to make it y equals. Alright, so point slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Anywhere you have minus and negative, put plus, positive. So I have y plus 2 equals negative 3 times x plus 6. Now don't leave your answer like that. Again, don't leave your answer like that. If you look down there, that is one of the answers. The directions say slope-intercept form, so we want to make it y equals form. So distribute your negative 3. So y plus 2 equals negative 3x. And that's going to be minus 18. Get the y by itself. Subtract 2 from both sides. So you get y equals negative 3x minus 20. So that's the one you're looking for. Number 8 says graph the equation y equals x minus 1. Alright, the easiest way to graph this is by using the fact that the y-intercept is negative 1 and the slope is positive 1. The way that you do that is you go to where y is negative 1. You know that your graph is going to cross there, so you put a point at y equals negative 1. Now to use the slope, and the slope is 1, that's 1 over 1. So the rise is 1, the run is 1, or the change in y is 1, the change in x is 1. So from that point, you go up 1 over 1 to the right. From that point, up 1 over 1 to the right. From that point, up 1 over 1 to the right. So just make a couple of points, then connect the points, and you have your line. That's what it looks like. Alright, problem number 9 says graph x equals 2. So the way that you graph x equals 2 is you go to where x equals 2 on the x-axis. So that would be right here. Put a point, and now you draw a line straight up and down, a vertical line through that point. There's the graph of x equals 2. Number 10, graph f of x equals 1. That's the same thing as y equals 1. If you have y equals 1, you go to where y is positive 1, that would be right here, and you draw a horizontal line through there. So y equals 1. So that's the graph of y equals 1, or f of x equals 1. Number 11, graph the linear function by plotting the x and y intercepts. So here is the equation given in number 11. This is in general form. The best way to use general form if you need to graph is by finding the x and y intercepts. That's what the directions say. To find the x-intercept, pretend that your y equals 0, or make your y equal 0. That will make this term go away. So the negative 25y, just take it out, and you'll be left with negative 5x minus 25 equals 0. Now solve for x. To solve for x, move your 25 over, so add 25 to both sides. I get negative 5x equals 25. Alright, now to get x by itself, divide both sides by negative 5. So I get x equals 25 divided by negative 5, which is negative 5. So my x-intercept, that means I'm going to cross the x-axis at -5. To find the y-intercept, I do just the opposite. I set x equal to 0. So this x term right here, this -5x, it goes away. So if that goes away, I would be left with -25y minus 25 equals 0. Do the same thing. Solve for y. So -25y equals +25. Or y equals -1. That means that we're going to cross the y-axis at -1. So draw an x and y axis. Go to where x equals -5. That's to the left 5 units. So that would be right here. So we know this graph will cross right there. Go to where y equals -1. That's down 1 unit. So we know we're going to cross right there. Connect those 2 points with a straight line and you have your graph. So just a quick review. To find the x-intercept, set y equal to 0 and solve for x. To find the y-intercept, set x equal to 0 and solve for y. Then put a point where x equals -5. Put a point where y equals -1. Connect the points and you have your graph. Alright, problem number 12. The directions say determine the slope and y-intercept of the graph of the equation. The slope and y-intercept of the graph of the equation. If I need slope and y-intercept, I need to put this in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals form, or y equals mx plus b form, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So make this y equals. The easiest way to do that is not move the 2x over and move the 10 over. The easiest way would be to move the 5y over, so you say plus 5y to both sides, and then simply flip your equation around where you write the right side first. So I would have 5y equals 2x minus 10. Then divide everything by 5. So I have y equals 2/5 x minus 2. -10 divided by 5 is -2. So my slope is 2/5. My y-intercept is -2. If you look down there at your answers, you have the y-intercept given as a point. So the way that you write that as a point, that's 0 for the x, -2 for the y. Alright. Alright, number 13. Use the given conditions to write an equation for the line in the indicated form. Passing through 3, -4, and parallel, that's very important, this problem, parallel to y equals -4x plus 3. So if it's parallel, it's going to have the same slope as the given line. This line is already in slope-intercept form. So the slope of my new line is going to be the same as this line. It's going to be -4. So I want to write this in slope-intercept form. The first thing I need to do then is put it in point-slope form, and then I'll make it y equals. There's my x sub 1, there's my y sub 1, and there's my m. So y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Anywhere you have minus a negative, you put plus. So I have y plus 4 equals -4 times x minus 3. Now, if the problem would have asked for point-slope form, I'd be done. But it asked for slope-intercept form. That was the directions. So I need to make it y equals. So distribute your negative 4, and you get y plus 4 equals negative 4x plus 12. Now move the plus 4 over, subtract 4 from both sides, and you get y equals negative 4x plus 8. That's the answer you're looking for. It says passing through 5, 4 and perpendicular to negative 4x plus y minus 7 equals 0. So first I need to figure out the perpendicular slope of the given line. The given line is in general form. We want it to be in y equals form. So move everything to the other side of the equation, so this would be y equals. Since that's a positive y, I'm going to take these two terms and I'm going to move them over. So I get y equals 4x plus 7. So this is my given line. My new line that I want to write the equation of will be perpendicular to this given line. This given line has a slope of 4. So my perpendicular slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal. So since this is positive, opposite means it will be negative. This is 4. The reciprocal of 4 over 1 is 1 over 4. Alright, so the perpendicular slope is negative 1/4. Now my directions say that I want the equation in slope-intercept form. So first I'm going to put it in point-slope form, then I'm going to make it y equals. So y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Alright, now if it asked for point-slope form, I'd be done, but it asked for slope-intercept form. So distribute your negative 1/4. You have y minus 4 equals negative 1/4 x plus a negative times a negative is a positive, and 1/4 times 5 is 5/4. Now I need to make this y equals. So I add 4 to both sides. So I have y equals negative 1/4 x. Now you have to get a common denominator between 5/4 and 4. The common denominator is 4. So how many fourths is 4? 16, right? 4 times 4 is 16. So I have 5/4 plus 16/4. That's 21/4. So I get y equals negative 1/4 x plus 21 over 4. Right, problem number 15 says find the distance between the 2 points. The distance formula is the square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. Label all of your points. So the distance is the square root of x sub 2 is 3 minus x sub 1 is negative 3 squared plus y sub 2 is negative 7 minus y sub 1 is negative 3 squared. Remember, you have minuses in your formula, so when you plug in negatives, you're going to have minus a negative. And anywhere you have minus a negative, you put a plus. So the distance equals the square root of 6 squared plus -4 squared. Now that -4 is in parentheses, so when you square it, you say -4 times -4. So that's the square root of 36 plus 16, or the square root of 50. The square root of 50 can be simplified to the square root of 25 times the square root of 2. Or 5, it would be 52, sorry. 36 plus 16 is 52, not 50. Will that simplify? Let's see. 2 times what? 26. 2 times what? 13. So I broke that down using my factor tree. Will that simplify? Yes, that's 2 square roots of 13. So what it comes down to is you could rewrite this as the square root of 4 times the square root of 13. Square root of 4 times square root of 13 would be 2 square roots of 13. That's your answer. Alright, midpoint, number 16. The midpoint formula is x sub 1 plus x sub 2 divided by 2, and y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. Alright, so for this problem, I have 5, -4, and -7, 5. So add the two x's together, so that's 5 plus -7, and divide by 2. Add the two y's together, that's -4 plus 5 divided by 2. So that's going to be -2 over 2, 1 over 2. Or -1, 1/2. So the midpoint between those 2 points is the point -1, 1/2. Number 17, the directions say, write the standard form of the equation of a circle with a given radius, or given center and radius. So the center is 6, 0. The radius is 9. Remember, that's my h and that's my k. The general form of the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So that's x minus 6 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 9 squared. Or x minus 6 squared plus y squared equals 81. Right? Y minus 0 is just y, and then y squared is, of course, just y squared. 9 times 9 is 81. So that's the standard form of the equation of that circle. Number 18 has the same directions. The center is -1, -8, and the radius is the square root of 15. So I use the same general form of the the standard form of the equation of a circle. X minus h, remember your h is your first coordinate, your k is your second coordinate, so x minus -1 squared plus y minus -8 squared equals r squared is the square root of 15 squared. So x plus 1 squared plus y plus 8 squared equals the square root of 15 times the square root of 15 is 15. Alright, so that's your answer. Number 19 says, find the center and radius of the circle. So remember, the formula for the circle, the standard formula of the circle, has a minus here and a minus here. So when you find the center, you take the opposite sign of what's in front. So the center of this circle is going to be -4, -1. And the radius of this circle is going to be the square root of what we have on the right side, the square root of 9, or 3. The last problem on the test says graph the equation. Alright, so we have x minus 2 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 9. So what you need to do is first write down the center. The center is +2, +5, and then write down the radius.
That's always the opposite sign of the number.
Opposite sign of the numbers in here, yes. The radius is the square root of 9, or 3. Alright, so put a point at 2, 5. That means go over 2 on the right, go up 5. So there's the center of your circle. Now, to graph this out without using the tool that you'll have on your homework, from the center, you simply go up 3 and put a point, go back to the center. Go right 3 and put a point, go back to the center. Go down 3 and put a point, go back to the center. Go to the left 3 and put a point. Then you connect all these outside points with a circle. So depending on how good you draw your points, you know, it may or may not look like a circle. And I went over 1, 2, I was supposed to go over one more, 3. But actually goes over there. So if you look at the graph, you only have 2 choices here. One is down and to the left, one is up and to the right. So it is the choice that's up and to the right.